Welcome to Urza, Lord High Artificer. As far as our opening hand goes, yes, this is beautiful. We're going to keep it. We have 3 islands. We have a Mox, Everflowing Chalice once we get down Urza. It's kind of like that. And let's go and lead off island. Let's go for Retrofit or Foundry. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So we're playing Urza, Mr. Artificer himself. I'm super excited to be playing this deck. And just a little bit of a heads up, this is the second game that I'm playing with Urza. I just tried to record a game with Urza earlier, and I misclicked, and then I misplayed to make up for the misclick, and so I'm like, okay, let's just hit the reset button. So this is the second game that I'm playing with Urza, so just a little bit of a heads up. If I do make a mistake or a clicking error, this is a brand new commander, and anyway, I'm excited to play it. And look at that swamp. It's a good looking swamp right there. Imagine that in an old border. Whew, that would look good. Ooh, then we run into Chrome Mox. So let's go Island. Now, one of the cool things about Chrome Mox, and I'll show you here in a second, let's go Everflowing Chalice with the multi-kicker for 1. There we go. It's going to be 1, 2. With Chrome Mox, you may discard a non-land card from your hand, so we don't have to do that. So we're just going to cast Chrome Mox, have that enter the battlefield, and that's going to allow us to tap it down with Urza. So that's kind of one of the cool ways that you can get ahead on mana. So have Chrome Mox enter the battlefield. I'm not going to exile a card out of our hand because we want to hold on to both of those. And then we're going to pass turn over to our opponent. So we're playing Urza. Whenever Urza enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 colorless construct creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact that you control. Then tap an untapped artifact you control, add blue mana to your mana pool. Then for a 5 mana activation, if you are still keeping score at home, shuffle your library, exile the top card. You may play that card until end of turn without paying its mana cost. So pretty good little option right there. Excited to get some Urza, and we'll talk about the deck here in a second. So let's make the land drop for the turn. That's going to be Island. Yeah, and I think at this point we just try to jam an Urza because that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. I like that. Yeah, we're going to get a construct token. That'll give us 3 mana that we can tap down. And, well, I think we can, yeah, we can tap down construct. And we have Hornswoggle online to at least kind of stop Arcane, not Arcane Denial, but stop the Scarab God. And then we're going to go pass turn over to opponent. So we're playing against the Scarab God. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses X life and you scry X, where X is the number of zombies that you control. Then for a 4 mana activation, exile target creature that you can exile target creature card from a graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it is a 4/4 black zombie. Then when the Scarab God dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next inset. Opponent's going to go for Crypt Breaker. It looks like they're simply just going to go and pass the turns. It looks like they're running into a little bit of mana issues. So hopefully they can get a few more lane drops going pretty soon, and then we don't just kind of outpace them with Urza. So let's go Trail of Evidence, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we've got a pretty good chunk of mana. So if that's the case with our opponent, let's go Trail of Evidence. That's going to be tapping down Chrome Mox. We're going to go Trail of Evidence, and let's go for Magnifying Glass. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. And then yeah, let's go and push in with the construct token. I kind of like doing that. Swinging for a 5/5. And now with some of these Urza games, you know, as recording goes, there may be some times where if Urza is a little bit too nutty and reverse one commander, I may end up having to splice some of these some of these games together. So I'm still going to play this one out. So hopefully it ends up being a pretty good game. It looks like they made the land drop. But yeah, we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor, MTGOTraders. If you want to build your very own Urza artifact deck where you can just do some busted things, be sure to check out MTGOTraders. They've got all the artifacts that you may need. And also, shout out to inkgaming.com. You can use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order with custom playmat. T-shirts are coming soon. I promise. I need to work on the actual playmat design of the t-shirt. It's you can't port it over, so I'm going to try to knock that out this week. But yeah, you can help the channel out, or you can click on the link down in the description below, or actually go to the website, type in Jolt539, and you can see some of the cool playmat designs that I do have over there. So let's go Island. And then I think at this point, since we just don't really have a lot of action in our hand, we're just kind of sitting on a Hornswoggle for the Scarab God. That does give us the Retrofitter Foundry to start making some servo. So you know what, let's just go and pass the turn. They've got Crypt Breaker. If we wanted to, we could swing in with Construct, but I think at this point, I just kind of like sitting back. So we're going to try to get some pretty good value going. We've got Magnifying Glass, and we've got Retrofitter Foundry. And that's one of the cool things about this particular build of Urza, is it's not necessarily like a Stacks, Winter Orb style deck. what we're trying to do is basically just get as many artifacts on the battlefield as possible. So something like Magnifying Glass, something like Retrofitter Foundry. Once we get these artifacts going, Urza allows you to tap those artifacts to generate some mana. I mean, it's just a very, very busted commander, and I enjoy it very much, and really excited to be playing this. So we'll talk about a few more of the interactions that we do have in the deck. And also, last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, there's a link down in the description below. You can get your name at the beginning or the ending of the credits, and you get to pick out some magic art for the credits, so that's always pretty cool. And if you can't, hey, no worries, just tell somebody about the channel. I would certainly appreciate that. So let's go for the Retrofitter. Oh, no. Okay, goodness. All right, let's go for the Retro. We're going to make a servo token. Let's tap down Chrome Mox. And then let's go for the Investigate. We're going to make a 4 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I think we can untap Retrofitter, but we don't have an extra token to make for 2 mana. All right, so we're simply just going to go and kick it back over to our turn. And then we run into island. So let's get the island down. And now that we're looking at a construct for a 7/7, if they want to trade with Crypt Breaker, well, we can make this trade. So let's go and push in for a 7 and see if they want to offer up any sort of trades on this. So we're going to swing in as a 7/7. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. If they want to get rid of it, the game goes on as Crypt Breaker gets better and better. That's not really something we want to be playing against. And then anything else, kick it back over to our opponent. So, but yeah, as far as the deck goes, this is pretty much kind of what we're wanting to do. Cards like Trail of Evidence, Retrofitter Foundry. Once we just keep that like ball roll, it's kind of like a snowball effect. Once we keep getting Call to the Grave at the beginning of each player's upkeep. Okay. We cannot counter that with Hornswoggle. All right, so let's do some stuff. Let's make a servo token. Yeah, so that's going to be 1, 2. So we're going to have to keep up with that Call to the Grave, because at the beginning, yeah, they have to sacrifice a zombie. Then at the beginning, if there's no creatures on the battlefield, sacrifice Call to the Grave. All right, so we're going to have to get a little bit ahead on that. Let's go for the Investigate ability. We're going to untap Retrofitter Foundry, and then with those last 2 clue tokens, we're going to make 1 more servo. Okay, there we go. So this is, in this build of Urza, you know, this is not a cut. Well, not when I say it's not cutthroat, I mean, we're not trying to lock our opponent out of the game. But basically, this is exactly what we want to be doing with Urza. This particular build is just getting a lot of artifacts and just going to town on, like, all right, what kind of shenanigans can we get into? So let's see what we draw into. If we could draw into some sort of draw spell, that would certainly be a good option for us. So we're going to have to sacrifice one of our servo tokens. Thank you for your service, servo. And then we run into another island. So at this point, we may want to start turning some of these servos into 4/4s. Now, we can start cracking some of these clue tokens. I think I kind of do like doing that. So let's just see what we can draw into. So let's go and crack a clue token. That's another island. Okay, let's go 1 more. And that's going to be Scalding Tarn. All right. Yeah, I think let's just go ahead and pass the turn to our opponent. We still have Snapcaster as an option. So what we can do with Snapcaster is we can flash in Snapcaster to be an extra sacrificing creature, if we need to end up doing that. And then if they do end up going for the Scarab God, we still have the option to go for Hornswoggle. Now, one of the other things that we are running in Urza is being able to kind of run a lot of these treasure spells. So counter target creature spell, you get a treasure token. So basically it kind of equates to, that's just going to be 3 mana. Gilded Lotus, yeah, that's good. Building up some mana on this one. And we'll still kind of keep ahead of that Call to the Grave and try to get a few more servo tokens on the battlefield. But if we can end up going for... Okay, so they're going to hardcast Bridge from Below, which is very interesting. Normally, you don't see that on the battlefield. Let's go for the 2 activations. It's going to be 1, 2. And I think at this point, yeah, we really want to just generate as many creatures as we can. So let's go for the Investigate with Magnifying Glass. It's going to be an extra clue token on the battlefield. And then that should be it on artifacts. So we'll go and kick it back over to our turn. So now the Bridge from Below, yeah, typically you want to see that in your graveyard. So, but look at that art. Good looking art on that. All right, so we got Death Baron just staring us down. And then we do have to sacrifice a servo token. We're going to sacrifice servo. And then we run into Darkstale Citadel. Let's go for 1 more clue token. Phyrexian Revoker, and unfortunately there's not really much. Well, actually we can end up naming Gilded Lotus with Phyrexian Revoker if we end up going for that. So we go Darksteel Citadel, and then once again I think we simply just go and pass the turn over to our opponent. Yeah, I think we'll finally end up going for the 1 mana activation, creating some of these Thopter tokens, these 4/4 construct, because we need to get some sort of clock going on our opponent. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just go and pass the turn. We could Phyrexian Revoker on Gilded Lotus, but I'm also kind of wanting to try to catch something with Hornswoggle. But yeah, outside of the initial artifacts for the deck, one of the cool things that you can do with Urza is like something like Chrome Mox. You saw that earlier in the game. We don't have to exile a card, and then we can tap it to get some mana. Same thing with Spellbook. Spellbook is a 0-cost artifact, and with Spellbook, we have no maximum hand size. So if we're actually drawing cards or some good stuff, Risen Executioner. Other zombies you control get +1/+1. Yeah, let's go ahead and cash in this Hornswoggle. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. That's going to give us an extra clue token with Trail of Evidence, and then also allow us to at least kind of get rid of that creature. Because if we get that +1/+1, that may be something we don't really want to run into. And so now that we have a treasure token on the battlefield, it's basically essentially going to be a Mox for Urza, which is just a really nice feeling. Now we do have Snapcaster. We definitely have Snapcaster online to go Flash and then Hornswoggle again if they're going for an additional creature. So let's see what else they're tapping out for. Yeah, and I think just so they don't have a lot of activations, yeah, let's go Snapcaster. So we're going to tap down Chrome Mox. So we're going to give Hornswoggle flashback. Let's go for Hornswoggle again. That's going to give us an extra Trail of Evidence. Let's go 1 mana and sacrifice a Servo to create a Thopter. We're going to untap Retrofitter Foundry, and then we're going to sacrifice a Thopter to make a full 4 token. Yeah, there we go. Okay, a little bit of hoops to jump through, but we officially have turned a Server into a Thopter into a Construct token. So, and that still gives us 1, 2, 3, 4 extra mana. But I don't think that's going to allow us to end up going for the clue token. Do we actually? Yeah, let's go ahead and crack one of the clue tokens. So we're going to tap down Construct, and let's tap down one of the last clue tokens. And we're going to crack this one just to draw a card, because we just want to get something going. Time Twister, there we go. That's exactly what we want to see. It's going to give our opponent a little bit of value on their side of the battlefield to do some stuff. Now, we do have to sacrifice Snapcaster, but with our Construct token, hopefully we can start to kind of put some pressure on our opponent. So Time Twister is exactly what we wanted to see. So we're going to sacrifice a non-zombie creature, get rid of Snapcaster over there. Sorry, partner. And then we run into Island. So let's go. I think we just go Scalding Tarn, grab ourselves a Island, and then go for Time Twister. We'll still get down Phyrexian Revoker. Yeah, I like that. So we're going to grab Island, go Phyrexian Revoker. It's going to be 1, 2. We're going to name the Scarab God. That way it's going to cut them off any sort of activations. And let's go Time Twister. That's going to give us an extra Investigate token. It's going to be really nice. Oh, look at that. Okay, so now we're really starting to get somewhere. Let's go Tezzeret, because we can go for that +0 to really start cashing in some card draw. So 1, 2, 3. Let's go for the 0 ability, draw 2 cards. We're going to go Treasure Map. And then let's go and start to push in with the Construct token, and then knock them down to hopefully 19, and then we're simply just going to go and pass a turn. So now that we've got a few creatures on the battlefield, we do have Tezzeret. We can end up going for that Tezzeret activation to create a Thopter, and that's going to allow us to kind of stay ahead of that call from the grave. So now that Phyrexian Revoker's on the battlefield, we've named the Scarab God. They can still get that beginning of their upkeep trigger of losing X life and scrying X, but at least we're going to cut them off any sort of activation with the Scarab God, and we've gotten rid of their graveyard, which is going to be a really nice effect. So let's go Retrofitter Foundry, and it's going to make a Servo token. It's going to be a 1/1 Servo, and then we're still going to go for the untap. We're going to sacrifice one of those Thopters, and this is just such a, there we go, sacrifice a Servo, create a Thopter, and then that's still going to give us exactly just enough to untap Thopter Foundry, so we're going to pay 3 mana. Okay, so there we go. We've got the 4/4 Construct Artifact Creature token on the battlefield, and we're slowly building up this Urza army. And then they're going to get down Eldritch Reborn. Each opponent sacrifices a creature, so at this point, we'll just go ahead and sacrifice a creature or planeswalker. I think at this point, I kind of like sacrificing Urza, because we've got a ton of mana. We can recast Urza, and then get an extra construct of the XX construct. Yeah, I kind of like doing that. So we're going to sacrifice Urza, because if we ended up sacrificing Tezzeret, then that would end up making it to where we can't, they can bring it back with the Eldritch Reborn. We don't really want to give them that sort of option. Now, the other cool thing with Tezzeret is now that we go for the +1 create a Thopter token, we can sacrifice those Thopters to immediately turn those into construct tokens for free. So we got some pretty good value going at this point right now. And let's go for the Call to the Grave. We're going to sacrifice the Servo token. And then we run into Island. Okay, so let's do this. So let's go for, let's get Urza down again. We're going to create a Thopter. We're going to have Urza into the battlefield, create that one. Oh, look at that, 16/16. That is beautiful. We're going to make the Island drop for the turn. We've already activated Tezzeret. And I think since everything we're doing is basically just instant speed, we could go for one with Machine. But we're actually only looking at about... only about 3 card draw at this point right now. So let's simply just going to go ahead and pass the turn. Let's go and swing in with these construct tokens because we want to be pretty aggressive on this. You know, if they want to block with the Lich Lord, they certainly can. So we're going to go and swing in double 4s. It's going to put them down to 11. And then we'll kick it back over to our opponent. So we've got Stoic Rebuttal. We definitely have this online. We can counter target spell, so we're sitting pretty good for next turn. We've got a ton of artifacts to activate and go for this Retrofitter Foundry. So we can at least end up with a couple more constructs. And then we'll slowly start to build up this Urza construct army. So each opponent's going to discard a card. And we'll get rid of Misty Rainforest. That's fine. Get rid of that, and then we'll go for that. But yeah, you can see where, you know, with Urza, you don't necessarily have to build some sort of cutthroat build. Simply just getting artifacts on the battlefield is going to pretty much just amplify your mana and just make it hard for anybody to do what you're doing. And Urza is pretty busted, to be perfectly honest. You know, being able to have this much mana is a very cool effect for us. But with Urza, you know, if you think about it, if they're going to make Urza an actual creature card, it makes sense that he's this busted. Like, this is the only card that I want to be that busted. The fact that Urza has always been so powerful, I really like that. So opponent's going to go for Sidisi. I think let's go for Stoic Rebuttal. This is going to be 2 blue mana. I don't know what they're going to try to go for that. But whatever they end up tutoring up, if they end up going for a board wipe, we don't really want to let that go through. So we're going to go for Stoic Rebuttal. That's going to counter target spell. And you can essentially see, you know, with something like Stoic Rebuttal, Endless Ranks of the Dead. Okay, so we're going to have some zombies to fight on this. That's something that we need to do. So let's go for the Thopter activations. We're going to sacrifice the Thopter, get a 4/4 construct. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed this up, but I'm going to add a bunch of mana. That way we can go for the Retrofitter Foundry. Okay, there we go. So added a bunch of mana and basically just made an extra construct. So we're going to have that Call to the Grave trigger. Yeah, and once again, I think we still just end up going Urza because we've got the mana to recast it. So we're going to sacrifice Urza. And the cool thing about us sacrificing Urza, we can basically just kind of keep those construct tokens going. So let's make the land drop for the turn. Let's go Scavenger Grounds. And let's go Urza. Just because we're going to get another 17/17. Let's go for the Thopter activation with Tezzeret, and let's go and push in with all of our construct army. Look at that. Okay, so we got the constructs coming across. We've got the 19/19 construct swinging in. We're going for the Tezzeret activations, and our opponent, yep, there we go. Opponent's going to scoop it up on this one, or at least, you know, just let the damage go on through. It appears that we were playing against a little bit of a, maybe a budget build of the Scarab God. So if I end up posting this video, the only reason I'm posting is just to show off the interaction of Urza. You know, sometimes when you have a commander like this, it's a little hard to kind of get a good showing of it sometimes. Once you get some good value going, sometimes people end up scooping. So to have this game go all the way to completion of us making construct token, making Thopters, this is pretty much the reason why I'm going to post this video up. But you can definitely see how the fun interactions with Urza can end up some really nice board state. And being able to just get down Retrofitter Foundry and untap it and, you know, get down a Servo, turn that into a Thopter, turn that into a construct. You know, we're having to sacrifice Urza, but you can see where, you know, we could have gotten the commander tax up to like 10, 12, even 14 mana and basically just been a powerhouse. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.